this week's edition of The Edge Malaysia, we have a special magazine, The Handshake That Made It Happen. So we're celebrating 50 years of Malaysia-China relations, right? So I have to ask, why did we decide to dedicate an entire magazine to this issue?
It's 100 over pages. It's quite a lengthy story to tell. To cut it short, I think if you ask Jia Teng, he probably say dia yang menurut perintah. Right? Well, on a serious note, 50-year is actually a milestone anniversary. And on the editorial sides, we think that 50 years is a long time. And a lot of things had happened and things have changed tremendously over the 5 decades. Not only Malaysia and China, say like in 1974, when our former Prime Minister Tun Razak visited China for the first time, China was still a developing country. And now China is a superpower. So we observe that by looking at this, what that has happened over the 50 years on these two countries' diplomatic relationships, it also gave us a chance to learn the histories not only in these two countries, the trade relations between the two countries, as well as give us a look at the international political landscapes. So that make it will be an interesting read for our readers, I believe.
There's 5 whole decades of information to condense in one magazine. Jia Teng, you were the project editor, right? What was it like putting everything together?
Many sleepless nights for him, I believe.
Yeah, I think as the saying goes, the beginning is always the hardest. First thing first, as far as our corporate desk is concerned, I think this is our first time doing such a magazine.
It's our first
so we have
time,
no experience. We start from scratch. We have to learn. So the beginning is very hard because I have to come up with the framework and all that to roughly know, these are the contents, these are the stories and all that, right? So quite tough from the beginning. But as we assemble the core team members, because other than me and Kathy, the other 3 core team members, Wing Quan, Chester, and Justin. So the good thing is all 5 of us, we can converse and read Mandarin. That really helped a lot in terms of the ease of communication and also while we're doing research, because a lot of articles have been written in Mandarin. So it's easier for us to do the research and all these things. So that helps. Then as we progress to get stories and all that, actually it's not that difficult because that's what we do usually, securing interviews, write stories, right? The challenging part comes as we approach the deadline, because then we realize that actually a lot of contents that we initially planned, right, is more from the Malaysian perspective. So we get a lot of interview with the CEO of Bursa-listed companies, the business tycoons with business presence in China. We then realize that actually from the China's perspective, there's lack of such contents lah. Then we have to start digging information and all this, and that's why we came up with another few contents like China investment in Malaysia, the map, the infographic, this kind of thing. Yeah. That was quite stressful as we approach the deadline. Yeah.
And you only had 3 months. 3 months.
Yeah,
to do it,
3 months. I think to me another challenge for us is that in fact when we decided on this project, my first concern is we don't actually have the archive because the age is only 30 years old. Yeah. So we don't have the photos, we don't have any news article that done by ourselves during that time. So we have to rely on we have to source it from others, including the pictures. In fact, we bought quite a number of pictures. So that actually make our research more time consuming, more tedious. If we have our own archives, it will be much easier. I think Wing Quan, our colleague, sourcing the photos alone, it took us almost a month. Yeah, it took us almost a month. Yeah.
Because the price is also not
Yeah.
cheap, and then we have to be very selective.
Yes, because we
Yeah.
have a budget to spend on photos, so we have to be very careful when we chose which pictures to buy.
That's why we brought our artists along to
Yeah.
join us
To choose
to make sure that this is the photo that we want, and artist also thinks it's okay to have it.
yeah.
Otherwise, once you buy them,
Because our worry that time is like, what if we chose, we pay for that 50 photos and end up artists actually thought it's not suitable, you know, not good enough, you know.
Speaking of challenges, I heard that coming out with this cover was also not easy.
No, this one.
Yes.
Actually, Sharon, in case you're not sure what they are, this is actually
the silk, right? The Chinese silk.
this is the Chinese silk with the golden thread embroideries, and this is obviously this is our Malaysian batik. This is one of the many design that our artist team have come up with. The final draft that we've seen is at least 7 or 8. This one, we chose this one. There's many considerations that our colleagues have to take into account. Until the very last minute, we still have a discussion on which cover to choose.
Let's touch on the content itself. Was there anything that you felt stood out, or something that you were particularly proud of?
If you ask me, I like the photo gallery because myself, I like photos. So with the photos, we tell the stories. There's always this pictures says 1,000 words. So for each decades, we will have photos to show event that happened during that particular decades. On top of that, we have a write-ups to sum up the histories between the two countries, the development of the diplomatic relationship in each decade. So personally, among all, I thought that one is interesting. Of course, others are also important. Jia Teng?
Personally, I think this column written by Tan Sri Nazir Razak, who is the son of Malaysia's second Prime Minister Tun Razak, I think that one really stood out because
we are glad that he actually wrote to NSA for us. It means a lot because it's sons of the former prime ministers,
and he actually touched on a lot of not just because when we talk about this Malaysia-China diplomatic ties, right? People always thought it's like, over the past 50 years we have been friends, everything is good and all that. But he actually touched on those certain like quite sensitive issues like the territorial dispute, South China Sea, this kind of thing. So you can see, we put in a lot of efforts in writing such a lengthy and also very comprehensive column.
Remember, you were also touching on Farlim.
Oh yeah, so that one also among the interviews I had, I think the interview with Farlim boss Tan Sri Liew Jia Teng, I think that one also quite interesting. Liew Tang. So he actually has his private vehicle actually has a project in Shandong province. It's called ASEAN Eco City. So during the interview he shared with me like in the early years when he first visited China, how undeveloped the country was. So the road was muddy, and then he has to spend like, after he reached the airport, he has to spend a few hours then only he can reach his the village, his hometown. So that was quite, to me, that was being a business journalist, I've been interviewing so many companies, right? The usual stories we had, we always ask about financials, numbers, figures, all these things. But this, when I interview him, you can really feel the sentiment. What's the word? Like the sentiments, how he wants to contribute to China, helping them to build the infrastructure and all this. So yeah, that's something that I experienced lah,
Yeah.
kind of differently than the usual stories that we do.
I understand that you also noted the importance, the role of Tun Michael Chang in developing this bilateral relations.
Tun Michael Cheng did play a very important role. He brought the Malaysian ping pong team to China. I think this was the first time we visited China for a ping pong or table tennis tournament. But he did not only bring along the ping pong team, and I think that he had with him is a letter from our former Prime Minister Tun Razak. So with the letter, he actually passed it to the Chinese leader, and then that's how the history starts. It started the ball rolling. Then since after that, I think both countries have a better understanding with each other's political stance and the foreign policies. But of course, before our ping pong team went to China, Tengku Razali, he also led a team to visit China, a trade delegations. That visit was quite long. I think it's, if I'm not wrong, it's about 6 days. Yeah.
So it started with ping pong diplomacy,
Yeah.
and today it's
And now we have,
Panda diplomacy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I think 40 years anniversary, which is 10 years ago, China sent 2 giant pandas to us, right? I think over the past 10 years, Malaysia is among all the countries that received the pandas. I think we are the one that did the best job. Because I think
The panda likes Malaysia. Yeah.
Can call second home
For the
already, Malaysia, my second home.
yeah, I think the panda has made Malaysia the second home.
To me, I really feel that this is a very sincere and honest product lah. This magazine really, by the Edge, is not just another like coffee table book that people put there and then flip a few pages and then they put down when, this is really a magazine that we can actually revisit the past, celebrate the present, and look forward to the future. And the readers can really learn something from this magazine. So, please pick up a copy of The Edge, this magazine.
Yes.
It's still
This
available.
could be a short guide to the histories.